Once, when I was a child, I accidentally set fire to a god. I recalled the flames now as I stared at my sister's empty, blood-soaked bed. The way their heat had licked at my body was remarkably similar to the scorch I currently felt creeping over my skin. The way my vision tunneled, unable to focus on anything but the bright and burning spots of red, it was the same. As was the sick twist in my gut, telling me I was in trouble. The difference was that now, my sister was not here to get me out of trouble as she had that fiery day. As she always had. Karys! The sound of my name shocked me into moving, sending me tripping backwards, stumbling out of my sister's tiny room and into the hallway. A hand landed on my arm, strong and unyielding, steadying me. I finally managed to pry my gaze away from Savna's bloodied bed, and I turned to face the person standing behind me. Andrel's bright hazel eyes met mine for a fraction of a moment before they caught on the horror inside the room at my back. His lips parted slightly. His breath caught briefly. The tiniest glimpses of emotion. Most would have missed them, but I knew Andrel. I knew when he was rattled, when he was afraid. It didn't happen often. There were voices rising outside, a fierce wind swirling stronger, creaking the trees and rattling the thatched roof of the house. The air felt strange, prickling against my skin, leaving an acrid taste in my mouth if I dared to inhale too deeply. An unspoken understanding passed between Andrel and me. This place is not safe. I didn't know what was happening, what sort of darkness was falling upon my home, or when, if, I'd be able to return to it. So I pulled free of Andrel and took what I could of my sister, sweeping things off her desk into a bag, grabbing items from the trunk by her bed and tossing them in with no real method or reasoning. I didn't even look at what was inside before cinching the bag shut. I just knew I couldn't leave all of her behind. Hoisting the bag onto my shoulder, I turned and raced down the hallway, through the back door, and past the marks that had been clawed into the frame. My gaze snagged on the deepest of those marks. A shiver skipped down my spine. I shook it off and ran faster. Andrel followed closely behind. We didn't stop until we were deep within the woods that stretched for miles behind my family's tiny farm. We approached a steep, rock-strewn hill, too steep for anyone to easily descend on us from above, and settled in with our backs against it, scanning the area before us for threats. The trees were thick here, wrapped in the puffy white flowers and timid green leaves of early spring. The weaving of their branches seemed almost unnatural, as though they had reached out and worked together to tangle up as tightly as possible. The softest of footfalls snapped our attention back in the direction we'd come from.